Strong men don't need fixing, they need space. Space to pause, space to think, space to reset internally. If you have ever felt exhausted always, the mind being full, the sense of always being on, there's nothing wrong with you. You just need to take a pause. If you're a man who is responsible for your work, your family, your team, your future, this might sound very familiar. You don't talk much about what's going on inside. Not because you can't, but because you don't want to burden anyone or be misunderstood or appear unsure of yourself. So, what do? You keep going. From the outside, you look fine. Inside, you feel mentally crowded, restless, disconnected from self. And the strange part is, you may not even know what is wrong. You just have that feeling that something is off. In this video, I want to do three things. Explain why men lose mental space under pressure, show you what's happening inside, psychologically and biologically, and three, introduce a way of thinking about strength and mastery that does not require you to become somebody else. This is not about any emotional dumping. This is about regaining control, clarity, and internal stability. So, let's get started. Welcome to the Resilience Pulse, a series on personal mastery for men. The core issue, if you look at it, is men are expected to be strong, stable, dependable, emotionally impeccable, and keep on delivering no matter what's happening inside. And they're not expected to say something like, I need to pause, I can't carry anymore, I need help. Because a man asking for help is seen as weakness. So, what do men do instead? They suppress, they distract themselves, they try to reason, they push through, and slowly the mental space disappears. When a man has nowhere to pause, a few things start happening. They make bad decisions, they are always agitated, their confidence comes down, focus drops, relationships fall apart, life becomes mechanical. He's still functioning, doing the day to day tasks, but he no longer feels anything anymore. This is where many men mistake this exhaustion for laziness. They mistake confusion for incompetence. Neither of them is true. Let me explain what's happening here. When pressure stays too high for too long, the brain shifts into survival mode. That is how our brains are designed to work, and this was as part of our evolution when ancient humans had to survive very tough environments. And in this survival mode, the part of the brain responsible for emotions and reactions that takes center stage, and your thinking brain gets less access, and your nervous system always stays tense. And what does that mean? It means you react more than you think. You avoid pausing because that stillness feels uncomfortable. You keep moving because stopping feels unsafe. So the problem is not that men don't want space, it's that their system no longer knows how to slow down. That's not weakness. You are functioning as designed. All you need to do to feel in control is to reset your nervous system. Let me be very clear about something. When I say men need space, I don't mean emotional dumping. I don't mean venting endlessly, and I don't mean any therapy language. What I mean is men need space, whether it is internal or external, where they can pause, think clearly, and steady himself without being judged. That pause is essentially what is self leadership. Personal mastery doesn't begin with discipline, it doesn't begin with habits, it doesn't begin with motivation. It begins with you taking a pause and creating your internal space, a space to observe what's happening, a space to regulate your system, to reconnect with your values, and to decide your next move consciously. Without that pause, without that space, everything else becomes forced upon you and you end up reacting instead of responding. And if you practice that pause consciously, your strength becomes sustainable. Let me give you something simple you can try today. When you feel overwhelmed, or you feel you are overthinking, or you feel out of control over anything, do this. Just close your eyes and take a deep, long breath. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 2 seconds. And exhale for 8 seconds. And remember, you exhale longer than you inhale. Do this thrice. Once you do this, what essentially happens is you are resetting your nervous system from being in the survival mode to calmly come into a thinking mode. And when you are in that mode, ask yourself this one question: what is going to be my next step? Not 10 steps ahead, not 2 steps ahead, just that one single step, the next step that you are going to do about the situation in hand. That moment of pause, that stillness will give you clarity and it will give you control. Try it. In my work with men, I have seen this pattern again and again. Once a man learns how to pause and how to create that internal stability, confidence starts to rebuild, decisions improve, and everything else, discipline, habits, performance, everything starts falling in place. That's the foundation of personal mastery. Strong men don't need fixing, they need space. Space to pause, space to think, space to reset internally. If you have ever felt exhausted always, the mind being full, the sense of always being on, there's nothing wrong with you. You just need to take a pause. If today's video resonated with you, this is exactly what we explore deeper inside my work on personal mastery. For now, I invite you to stay with the Resilience Pulse, where we'll talk honestly about strength, pressure, clarity, and control. Thank you for watching and being part of the Resilience Pulse. And remember, personal mastery begins with learning when and how to pause. See you in the next video.